So, you want to know what the ultimate guard dog breed is? Well, today's first semi-final contest sees the Turkish Kangol and the Rottweiler looking to eliminate each other and move on to the final. Welcome back to the Canine Show and our Ultimate Dog Championships, the Guard Dog Edition. I'm Will and I'm a behaviourist, and on this channel I make videos just like this one to help better educate all people about these amazing dog breeds. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Today's video is dedicated to the amazing work of the Guide Dogs charity. These guys are some of the best canine trainers in the whole world who dedicate their time and skills to training dogs that not only change people's lives, but there's countless stories of them saving lives as well. They need our help to continue to change even more lives, so if you want to know more about how you can get involved, the link is in the description box below. But without further ado, let's get straight into round one of our 5-round fight. Whoever wins the most rounds progresses to the final.
Round number one, the intimidation factor.
Turkish Kangols are very large dogs, and males can grow upwards of 81 centimetres or 32 inches, weighing up to 65 kilos or 145 pounds, with their female counterparts being a little bit smaller in height and a little bit lighter at around 50 kilos or 150 pounds. When I look at the Turkish Kangol, the first thing I think is their impressive athletic power. They are very well proportioned and well balanced dogs with a large intimidating head, and males have broader heads than their females. A key feature of that head is their slight tapering of the muzzle down to the dog's nose and the darker face masks that they always have, which adds to their foreboding appearance. When it comes to their bodies, again, they scream confidence with athletic, powerful physiques. Their entire bodies are extremely well muscled, but in a very proportionate way to their overall appearance. And no one part of the dog is out of place or stands out, is odd in any way, despite them being so large. Although illegal here in the UK, it's not uncommon around the world to see a Kangol have cropped ears, especially where they are still used as livestock guardians, as it removes a weak spot in case of attack from predators like wolves. And for me, this only adds to their intimidation when this is the case. For many people that don't know much about dogs, when you ask them about a scary dog or a dangerous dog or any form of guard dog, it's very likely that they conjure up an image of the Rottweiler, and it's a reputation that seems to follow this glorious breed. The males can grow upwards of 69 centimetres or 27 inches, weighing up to 60 kilos or 130 pounds, with again females being a little bit smaller and lighter than their male counterparts. So obviously they are large dogs, but they're not as big as some of the other guarding breeds. They are, however, extremely muscled and beautifully proportioned dogs with an exceptionally developed chest, deep, and they're very powerful legs. Their heads are fairly broad, which is not broad as many Mastiff type breeds, and they do have slight wrinkling of their faces when they're interested by something or when they're focused on a task. Otherwise, they do have nice tight coats across their faces, and they have that perfect scissor bite. Their coats and colouring are one of the most recognisable traits of the Rottie. Their undercoat is short and grey, black or fawn, but whatever the colour, it does not show through its medium length, coarser top coat, which sits very flat with all of their bodies, and they have a very specific colouring, being black with very well defined markings, which includes a spot over each eye on a dog's cheek, a strip on each side of their muzzle, on their throat, and 2 triangles on each side of the breastbone. On a dog's front legs, from their carpus down to their toes, and inside a dog's back legs that goes from the hook all the way down to their toes. So what a tough round to start our contest with here. Now I think we have 2 things to consider here. The first is the size, which obviously goes to the Kangol, but the looks for me go to the Rottie. So which do we prioritise more in terms of intimidation? Well, I personally think you hit a point of diminishing returns with size for intimidation. Once a dog hits a certain size, then them being bigger doesn't necessarily make them drastically scarier. For example, a Rottie size is much scarier than a Labrador, but a Kangol doesn't have the same jump over a Rottie, if that makes sense. But long story short, although the Kangol is the bigger of the two, I think the Rottie's colouring and blockier stature makes them more intimidating in my humble opinion, and wins round 1.
Round number 2, the bark and bite force.
Now before we jump into round 2, I want to very quickly mention my comments being disabled, especially if you missed the last video. I haven't disabled comments, and it's a YouTube problem from a recent issue on the platform. I love and miss chatting with you guys, so I've set up an email where I'll respond to every single message, so you can ask questions, leave your comments, or let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my judging, and we can have a general good chat. The email is canineshowquestions@gmail.com, and there's more information about it all in the description box, but let's get straight back to round 2. Now, when you research bite forces of canines, you will almost certainly come across the Kangol having the highest bite force of 743 psi. Now, I don't doubt that they have a ferocious bite force, but 743 is something that I'm a little bit sceptical of, which is why I've started planning that series that I've discussed loads by now, so you all know exactly what I'm on about. But let's take a look at their bite to see whether it matches this potentially ferocious bite. The highest bite force of the Rottweiler is pretty commonly reported to be 328 psi, which is a ferocious bite. But now let's check out their bark of the Rottweiler and see how it compares to the Kangol. A quicker round to judge here. Although both have thunderous barks, I do think the Kangol takes the edge and is reported to have the highest bite force in the world, bringing it back 1 round each.
Round number 3, trainability.
The Turkish Kangol is a very intelligent dog and has had this intelligence very well bred into them. However, they also have been bred to be very independent and capable of utilising their intelligence to make decisions for themselves, as they're often left in guarding and protection roles completely on their own. This combined with the Kangol only suitable for experienced owners and confident owners who are capable of setting firm yet positive boundaries for the dog to allow them to look for you for direction, as without this a Kangol is more than happy to be independent and make these decisions for themselves, which can be disastrous for such a large and powerful dog. Ideally, they also need plenty of space to roam, and the key to successfully training and raising a Kangol is to provide them with plenty of exercise and mental stimulation, combined with regular fun and challenging training sessions to keep them interested and focused on seeking direction from yourself. This is not a task that should be taken lightly by any potential owner, especially one that is looking to have a Kangol join a more traditional home environment in a companion and guarding role rather than solely a guarding and protection role. However, if you are well educated and experienced enough to get all of this right, you will have a wonderful companion dog that is naturally protective of its family and property. The Kangol is a breed that truly fascinates me and one that I do intend to study more on. So right off the bat, we know that the Rottie is considered one of the most intelligent breeds on the planet, but that doesn't always make for the most trainable, as eagerness to please and a lack of independence helps in this field massively, which makes this round for the Rottie not quite as simple as one of the smartest dogs on the planet. Now, when well socialised and trained by an experienced owner that can set out these clear and consistent rules and boundaries following a positive training method, you will have a confident dog that will look solely to you for direction. Now, this Rottie is a dream to train and will make an incredibly obedient dog in both the working and family environment. However, should you get this wrong, it's common for a Rottie to develop into a more dominant and independent character that will be happy to make the decision for itself. And this is where problems tend to arise for this breed. This isn't something that's specific to Rotties. Almost all breeds will do a version of this with poor training and leadership and socialisation, and the potential ramifications for a powerful and intelligent breed like the Rottie is far worse than other breeds. And this is what has led to their unfair reputation and them taking the blame for poor ownership from humans. So with all this in mind, this is a breed you're considering, then they do have potential to be a perfect companion or working dog, but please make sure that you are capable, experienced and well educated before you take the plunge. No contest here, the Rottie is widely considered to be one of the most intelligent and trainable dogs in the entire world and takes this round with ease, moving into a 2-1 lead.
Round number 4, health and life expectancy.
The average life expectancy of a Turkish Kangol is widely considered to be between 12 and 15 years when properly cared for, and as always you must ensure that you feed your dog a high quality diet. Because of the status of the Turkish Kangol in Turkey, it has been very carefully protected and carefully bred to be extremely resilient and healthy, which has resulted in one of the healthiest breeds on the entire planet, with very few issues in terms of hereditary health issues. That being said, all large dog breeds like the Turkish Kangol are more prone to hip and elbow dysplasia than many smaller breeds, and you ensure that your breeder has had their dogs tested for this. Big dogs tend to also be more prone to bloat and gastric torsion, so I'd highly recommend a raised feeding bowl for any large breed of dog. It is widely accepted that the average life expectancy of a Rottweiler is between 8 and 10 years, which isn't too bad for such a large, powerful breed. Like all breeds, this can be extended with a high quality diet and a healthy active lifestyle, and the Rottie is prone to some hereditary health issues that include the following: cancer, entropion and ectropion, which is issues with the eyelids folding inwards or outwards, cruciate ligament rupture, wet eczema, cold water tail, hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, bloat and gastric torsion. Some are prone to obesity, some have aortic stenosis, and there has been known in some lines to have some temperament issues. The Kangol is one of the most robust and hardy dogs in the world, with an amazing lifespan for its size, and wins this round and levels it out 2-2 going into the 5th and final and deciding round to see who progresses to the finals of our competition.
Round number 5, fearless loyalty.
The Kangol is a fascinating breed, and they form extremely strong ties to their owners, and especially the person who feeds them and takes the most care of them. However, at the same time, they are capable of being very independent dogs, and that can fend for themselves for days on end if required from them, especially while they're out patrolling their territory. They were bred to protect farmers' livestock from very dangerous predators such as wolves, jackals and bears, and will more than happily fight to the death to protect their owners' sheep, let alone their owners, which is exactly the reason why they're so highly prized in Turkey. That also means why the Kangols are seen wearing those spiky collars, as these are worn to protect the Kangol's throat when engaged with predators that are trying to hunt their flocks. It's something that we don't often think about in first world countries, as food is so easily accessible to us. But imagine if your livelihood and your life depended on raising and either eating your own or selling this food. You would develop such a deep, incredible bond with your dog that was designed and was extremely efficient at protecting these animals. So that is why these bonds go so deep in countries like Turkey with the Turkish Kangol. Rotties were bred to protect and guard, and have been used for this task for years. They do have an unfair reputation of being a dangerous breed, but this doesn't change the fact that they are extremely capable of superb guarding work and are world renowned for being totally devoted to their families, showing incredible levels of loyalty to their loved ones, with zero fear of repercussion for themselves. This is another reason why owners need to be well educated in properly socialising and training a Rottweiler, as they need to understand when it's appropriate to utilise their guarding skills, which for many of us is but a tiny fraction of their lives. I was really hoping this contest wouldn't come down to this round, as I knew how hard it would be to judge, and I would accept you guys leaning either way, as both breeds are undeniably fearless and loyal. The Kangol is more independent, but will regularly and does face down bears and wolves with no fear. A Rottie doesn't get that chance, but I think would happily do the same if given the opportunity. But they prefer and are more commonly used in personal guarding and are with their people more. Now, we need a winner, and as I'm the one with the unfortunate task of choosing between the two, and as my head is pretty much 50-50, I'm going to have to go with my gut, which is going with the Rottie, who wins this contest 3 rounds to 2 and progresses to the finals of our tournament, where he will take on the winner of the German Shepherd and the Connie Corso. Click top left for the whole playlist for all the contests in this tournament, or click the bottom left video for another one of my videos that I think you will enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next contest to determine the ultimate guard dog breed.